For about 2 decades, men's tennis was completely dominated by just three guys: Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic. I mean, their rivalries didn't just define the sport. For a lot of us, they were the sport. But that incredible era, it's over. So what happens next? What are these titans doing now?
First, just to set the stage, let's wrap our heads around the scale of their reign. Just look at this number: 66. That's how many Grand Slam singles titles they won between them. 66 majors in 20 years. It's just a mind-boggling statistic that we might never, ever see again.
So with Federer and Nadal officially retired and Djokovic carrying the torch as the last one standing, the big question is, how do you build a legacy after the fight is over? And what's so fascinating is that each one of them is answering that question in a completely different way. All right, let's start with the first to hang up his racket, Roger Federer. And let me tell you, he's not just enjoying retirement. He's literally writing the playbook for how a global icon transitions into a second act that might be even more impactful than the first. Of course, the on-court resume is just legendary. We all know it. 20 Grand Slams, that absolutely unbelievable record of 237 straight weeks as the world's number one, and it all wrapped up with that incredibly emotional goodbye at the Laver Cup in 2022 with his biggest rivals right there by his side. But this is where the story gets really interesting. The on-court numbers are one thing, but look at the impact he's having beyond the court. His early investment in the shoe brand On Running, it's now worth nearly $500 million. This wasn't just an endorsement deal. This was a masterclass in business, turning his brand into massive equity. And at the same time, his foundation has helped educate over 3 million children. It's a completely different kind of legacy. And the guy is not slowing down one bit. You can see he's as busy as ever, juggling his foundation work with being a celebrated icon of the game. You know, his election to the Hall of Fame, that was a given. But it just goes to show how he's cementing his history while actively building his future. Okay, so from the maestro's incredible second act, let's shift gears to the second member of the trio, Rafael Nadal. His story has always been about pure resilience, and his post-career chapter is shaping up to be a reinvention built on that exact same intensity he brought to every single match. You really can't understand Nadal without understanding this idea, the pedagogy of suffering. It's a philosophy his uncle and coach, Tony, drilled into him. The whole concept was pretty simple. Learn to love the struggle, endure the pain, and make your resilience the most powerful weapon you have. That psychological blueprint defined his entire career. And wow, does this chart show you what that mindset can achieve? Out of his 22 Grand Slams, a jaw-dropping 14 of them, more than half, came from the clay courts of Roland Garros. That isn't just dominance, it's probably the single greatest accomplishment at one event in any sport ever. So after saying an emotional goodbye at the 2024 Davis Cup, Nadal has quickly moved into new roles. He's now an ambassador for the Saudi Tennis Federation, and he's focused on expanding his super successful Rafa Nadal Academy across the globe. But he's also facing new battles, like recovering from major hand surgery, which just proves that for Rafa, the fight never really stops, even off the court. And that, of course, brings us to the last titan standing, Novak Djokovic. While his rivals are busy building their legacies off the court, Djokovic is still on it, with this relentless focus on one thing, cementing his case as the statistical greatest of all time. If you ever wonder where that unbelievable mental toughness comes from, you have to go way back. As a kid during the 1999 bombings in Belgrade, he famously kept practicing in an empty swimming pool. That kind of experience, it forges a determination and focus that's become his absolute trademark. So when you look at the raw data, the argument for him as the GOAT is just undeniable. Let's just let these numbers sink in for a second. 24 Grand Slams, 428 weeks at number one, 40 ATP Masters titles, and finishing the year as the number one player 8 different times. I mean, by almost every important metric, he stands all alone at the top of the mountain. And get this, even in 2025, deep into his late 30s, he was still playing at a totally elite level. He made the semifinals in all 4 majors, and he won his 100th and 101st career titles. It just shows you his incredible drive. The guy is still a force to be reckoned with. And looking ahead, he's gearing up for one more massive push. After dealing with a shoulder injury, he's doing a complete physical rebuild. He's even hired a top biomechanics expert to get his body perfectly tuned for 2026. This is not a farewell tour. This is a cold, calculated, strategic assault on the history books. So you have Djokovic's relentless hunt for on-court history. But what does it all mean when you step back and look at these three icons together? We're seeing three totally different paths emerge from the same shared history. Their stories are splitting off, but their collective legacy, that is already set in stone. And you can see that split so clearly here. On one side, you have Federer and Nadal, who are now all about building global infrastructure, foundations and academies that will shape the next generation. Then you have Djokovic, who's building a totally different kind of legacy, a blueprint for athletic longevity, pushing the absolute limits of what an athlete can do. At the end of the day, their combined impact is just immense. They didn't just win matches, they completely evolved the technique of the sport. They redefined what it meant to be a global commercial superstar, and they basically established the modern benchmark for what athletes can achieve through philanthropy. Their rivalry on the court was, without a doubt, the greatest story tennis has ever known. But the ultimate question is this: will their powerful, diverging legacies off the court end up having an even bigger impact and completely redefine what we think a champion can be?